Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dota Yoshi, joined here today by Xalorith. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Quite excited to get into this game.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a good game. And speaking of the game, we have Seraphic Nexus up against Takes Two to Jango. They are playing for 6th position on the Cybergamer Ladder. Yep, 6th position, and Seraphic Nexus are coming from that 10th place, so they are the challengers. And so far we have that OD and Batrider currently banned out. Your two standard bans you see these days. Batrider is fantastic initiation, while Other on the other hand, OD is the #1 mid hero in this game at the moment. He's just so hard to deal with. There's not many heroes that can go up against him. He puts you into that astral imprisonment, steals all your int and damage, and then just harass you out of the lane and just have the next 10 to 15 minutes quite easy into himself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't seen like any real specific buffs to OD. It's just that he wasn't really used much besides about, a month or two ago. I think Quantic really started using him. I think God Black really loves that pick. And yeah, you just see him do so well against other mid heroes. In 1v1 situations, very few heroes who can really go toe to toe with him. Razor does okay, but even then, it's not like a pure counter.
Yeah, and now we do see that Wisp being taken out. Seraphic Nexus not wanting to have to put up with that global potential that Wisp offers. At any moment, you could lose a hero on the map. Once that Wisp hits 6, which is usually about level, about 11 minutes into the game, he usually hits that level 6 if he's doing the support pulls, pulling through the camps, maybe get a kill on the side. But it's good to see him taken out of the game. It does limit the potential or that global ability. We might even see Seraphic Nexus pick up a Nature's Prophet, because usually if you go for that Wisp, one side will pick up the Wisp, the other side will pick up the Nature's Prophet, so they both have their potential of global roaming. And now we do see that Darkseer being taken out by Takes Two to Jango.
Yeah, definitely. This leaves quite a few heroes that are common picks still in the pool. That Visage is quite a common pick. They still have that Lifestealer. Maybe that Alchemist or Lone Druid. Although Lone Druid isn't usually a first ban these days. Maybe sometime in the second phase of banning, you see him get banned, or in the second phase of picks. He has been slightly nerfed. But yeah, I mean, there's still quite a few heroes here that Seraphic Nexus can pick from.
And we do see that Naga Siren picked up. Do you think we'll see her as a carry, or the most common role for her at the moment in this game is support?
I'd probably have to say that I almost like to see her as a support. I mean, she is very versatile though, so this doesn't really reveal the hand of Seraphic Nexus much, and I feel like they'll really decide how to slot her once they see the remaining draft from Takes Two to Jango.
And Takes Two to Jango does pick up that Keeper of Light and Nyx Assassin combo. Keeper of the Light is fantastic lane control and great against any pushes against towers. He can just hold the lane, get him off the towers, and then your towers just don't die. Along with the Chakra and that Binding Light, the Binding Light becomes so useful later on in the game. It shuts down a lot of the carries because they just can't hit anyone on their team. And Nyx Assassin, we should be seeing him as part of that 4th position role in that support. Look to see some very nice impales coming off, and once he hits that level 6, look at him starting to roam and help out his other lanes. Maybe even roam into mid if mid's not having such a fun time.
Definitely, and I feel like this Keeper of the Light pick may reveal the hand a little bit for here of Takes Two to Jango. It may indicate that they're going for something like a Phantom Lancer as their carry, which you see quite often with Keeper of the Light, just because you can just recall him from whichever lane he's currently pushing, and it is quite powerful. Quite a powerful choice, but really there's a lot of those carries out here with the Keeper of the Light, and it's going to be a Gyrocopter to pick up from Seraphic Nexus, and that's an excellent choice in my opinion. So at the moment, based on this, it looks like that Naga Siren will be more of that support hero.
And that those two together work a fantastic treat. You throw your song down, then follow that up by a cooldown. If you time it perfect, everyone's going to get hit by that, or pretty much everyone who's in that area will get hit by that cooldown. So they have that ensnare on them, and they take the damage, and then you can just follow up with Rocket Barrage, and you'll just do a lot of damage to the entire team. So I really like this combo, and their early game potential. You have that net, throw down the net, you walk up to him, Rocket Barrage, and that's a dead hero in that lane. So it's a really nice combo, it can work quite well. I'd like to see who they decide to pick up as their next support hero to follow that up. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see maybe a Rubik, as he does have a Vendetta, Impale, and even some of the Coddle's abilities he can pick up currently.
Yeah, I think Rubik is a strong choice, regardless of really what lineup you have. Telekinesis is so good in the early game, and it really helps set up some potential kills. We do see that Weaver ban, and Weaver has actually been picked so much recently. Quite a strong hero, but in that off lane, can pretty much go toe to toe with anyone. And there's that Phantom Lancer ban, so to be expected there from Seraphic Nexus, considering they picked up that Keeper of the Light on the other side. And you also see that Nature's Prophet, who's such a good, pushing hero, can help get those early towers, but also, of course, can teleport around the map, set up some ganks.
And Weaver, I believe Weaver is one of the most picked heroes in the TI3 at the moment. You see him in most games. He's a really favoured hero. He does quite well and can survive any time, so it's nice to see him taken out. And speaking of being taken out, Clockwork. He's just been eliminated from Seraphic's choices. He's a really nice offlane hero. The initiation he can bring to a team fight, you get in there, throw your cogs down, and that just ruins the entire team fight for the enemy team. If you're trying to retreat, throw those cogs down, your team's safe, unless you've completely blocked off. And he's a really nice offlane hero as well. You block those creeps in, or you throw them into the jungle with a little bit of a iffy creep pathing you can do with that Clockwork. You can save time, you can gather XP easier. He's a nice hero, and it's good. I wouldn't say it's good to see him banned out, because I love watching Clockworks fly around the map, setting up with their hook shots, but it's not who Takes Two the Jango wants to play against. I feel as if they want to be the team that takes the initiation, so they're getting rid of those heroes that can initiate. They have taken out the Batrider, Darkseer, and that Clockwork. Those three heroes are really great initiators, so it feels as if Takes Two the Jango wants to take this game into their hands, and they want to be the dictator of when these fights happen.
Oh, definitely agree there. I mean, Nagasari can help some of that initiation as well, of course, with her song, but definitely we do see it Takes Two the Jango. I mean, they picked up that Nyx Assassin, who's a great initiation hero, and also banning out, the Darkseer, Batrider, Clockwork, as you said. This leaves very few heroes in the off lane spot here. Oh, nice pick there from Alchemist. Alchemist is just a really strong at the moment. Did receive a slight nerf in the most recent patch, but you still see him get picked up fairly regularly. I would like to say though, Seraphic Nexus, they still have quite I guess an open hand here. I mean, they can still play Gyrocopter in the safe offlane, just depending on who the offlane of Takes Two the Jango is. We have seen that done before, just because Gyrocopter, he is ranged, he can still get those last hits. Generally, he'll do fine, won't really be contested too much. I actually see a Visage. Oh, I love Visage picks.
Yeah, I think everyone loves a little bit of Visage. He shows and screams aggression. And if you play aggression right in that tri lane, you're going to win that tri lane 90% of the time. Don't look up those stats anywhere, because I have no idea what the stats are, but he plays... Visage just dictates the lanes. So he's a really nice hero. He's fun to play, and if you can get those familiar stuns out in that mid game, those are very beneficial to a team. I've seen familiar stuns that just absolutely win team fights, and recalling back to the defense of the Australians, there was someone playing a fantastic Visage in there, and I believe he won it for them, so I love watching Visages.
Yeah, Visage is so strong. We do see that Lone Druid, who almost likely, well, almost certainly will be in that off lane here for Takes Two the Jango. Lone Druid, very strong hero. This does leave Seraphic Nexus with very little option to grab something in the offlane. I mean, they can still grab that Windrunner, who you see in the offlane. Bounty Hunters sort of being picked here and there now, but overall it does certainly limit their choice.
And there's still quite a few mid heroes that are still in the pool that both sides should be looking at. There's still a Queen of Pain. She got great burst, great movement around the map, and we see a Lifestealer, however, being picked up. Lifestealer, he is such a fantastic hero. That rage means you basically cannot die at the start of the game or get stun locked or held into place. It just avoids a lot of damage you can get out of them most of the time. And during that mid to late game, he starts hitting extremely hard. If they find someone, if they do pick up a Queen of Pain or a Quap in their next pick, you'll have that initiation from across the map. You'll have an extreme amount of burst damage, maybe even a Storm Spirit if they want to go that route. So I really like this Lifestealer, and it leaves them and screams that they're going to be picking up a Puck or a Queen of Pain or Storm Spirit as their final pick.
I totally agree. I feel Storm Spirit would probably be Storm Spirit or Puck would probably be the better choice, just because it gives them a little bit more disables as well. You know, Puck has that his ulti, of course, which keeps heroes in place, which can also help set up that Gyrocopter's ulti. But he also has the silence, of course, which helps in team fights. That Storm Spirit, of course, he's very powerful. He can lock down a hero with the pull move that he has. We see a Dragonite ban, which is a nice choice there. Dragonite's quite strong as well in that mid lane, and you can certainly, once he hits level 6, you can certainly start bringing towers down, start moving around the map, and cause a lot of havoc. But yeah, this is actually a Seraphic Nexus. I really do feel like they'll pick up either a Puck or a Storm Spirit here.
And speaking of takes two to Jango, they've got a really nice team. If you leave either one of their two main heroes, the Alchemist or Lone Druid, alone for 5 minutes, you're going to lose the tower. So you have to be extremely careful of that, and at any moment, Keeper of the Light can pull one of those two heroes back with them, and they can continue pushing even harder, or start split pushing around the map. I really like the way take two to Jango's lineup is starting to look. They have the ability to be able to push around the map, bring each other in, and then keep pushing and force these team fights. They have a considerable amount of AoE to an extent. You have your Coddles Illuminate, you got that Impale, got a little bit of Acid Spray, and depending on who they pick up last, could help out. And they will be going for an Invoker actually. So, should be seeing Exhort, Quaz, Invoker, which will be the Meatball and the Cold Snap, is the common build you see in Invoker. You don't really see the Tornado and EMP too much these days, which is kind of disappointing because I liked that build. It was definitely a different variation and playstyle it brought out Invokers, but we should be seeing that typical Meteor and Cold Snap combination.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with your Tornado EMP sort of builds is you see that you can't really get the last hits in the early phases. You really need the damage, otherwise you're basically just going to lose that lane. And there's the Shadow Fiend. Yeah, I mean, particularly when you're up against the Shadow Fiend, you really want to try contest as much as possible. Shadow Fiend is just really good and can deal a ton of damage very quickly. And yeah, Invoker's relatively fragile, so he has to be careful against the Shadow Fiend here.
And Seraphic Nexus, they're almost going for a wombo combo situation. You have your Naga set up for your Gyrocopter and I almost said Spirit Breaker, but Shadow Fiend. So it could be a very interesting team fight if they can set up and time that correctly. They could win the fight there and there if they get it off correctly. Anyway, to introduce the teams. For takes two the Jango, you have the captain playing on that Alchemist, Bucky. You then have their offlane of the Evil Twig on Lone Druid. Mid will be ran by Rika on that Invoker. And the two supports of Danelle and Litha on that Keeper of the Light and Nyx Assassin respectively.
And for the side of Seraphic Nexus, we do have their captain playing the Naga Siren. We have Fallen. We have Situ on the Visage. Yugada is playing the Gyrocopter. Milamba is on that Lifestealer. And last but not least, we have Kim's Dodo on the Shadow Fiend.
And so, takes two the Jango, they're buying up smokes all over the place. I think, oh wait, actually, no, it was one on each side. I thought takes two the Jango bought two smokes there, but I was mistaken. And they will be running their tri-lane down bottom up against the aggressive tri-lane of Seraphic Nexus. They have the Visage and they want to use him to his fullest potential with that Naga Siren. So it's going to be quite an interesting tri-lane down bottom. Mid lane will be the Shadow Fiend up against that Invoker. It's not going to be completely certain which side will win the fight. Invoker will have the advantage for the early game, but once Shadowfiend starts racking up those souls, then there could be a little bit of trouble. And then at top lane will be a lifesteal against Lone Druid. Lone Druid typically wins that lane purely because his bear can walk down and get that lifestealer out of the lane and force him away to play a little bit more defensively. If a entangle comes out, lifesteal's going to harass you, keep forcing you, and maybe even pick up a kill in the meantime.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad they actually put this lifestealer up there, just because if they put the Gyrocopter up there, the moment that entangle was up, if you got entangled at any point, you really would be in a lot of trouble. Whereas lifestealer is just a little bit more tankier, just a little bit more survivable, and considering it is in the safe lane, you should be fine.
And I really like this ward by Seraphic Nexus. It did get pinged out by the Nyx Assassin, so he believes he knows where that ward is, so the ward's not going to last for too long. But it's a nice ward. It's only the Revelation ward. It does cost 100, but it does get rid of that camp. And most of the time, if you're not spotted throwing it down, it doesn't get counter warded, especially if you have no one that can eat through these trees. So they might have to pop a few of their tangos to get to that Revelation ward, and even at times, even if you pop your tangos, you still might not get there correctly. So I really like that ward. It's going to shut down that pull-in just a little bit and make this Alchemist's life a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, we do see a few pings there of some of those potential ward spots. We'll see exactly if they decide to de-ward. I suspect they will. They would certainly want to get these pools going throughout this.
So there's not too much going on. It will come down to a little bit of a who makes the first move. If that Alchemist gets out of place a little bit too far, he will most likely be initiated on. But there's a nice ward here by Seraphic Nexus. They can watch any rotation of these supports if they're trying to get calm, close or anything. Letha knows his stuff and is going to find that counter ward straight away. So they're going to have to pull for the next minute. But that's still 2 creep waves that are going to get through and not going to be able to be pulled through. So it's still nice for Seraphic Nexus. They're going to be able to soak in this XP just a little bit more. And now, it's the waiting game. It's who's going to make the first move.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Seraphic Nexus will probably want to start making the more aggressive plays sooner, just because they do have that visage, and he's so powerful with that aggression. But we'll see exactly how this plays out. I mean, you know, Keeper of the Light, Nyx Assassin, that combo is quite deadly as well.
I definitely agree with you there. If they can try to get some of the aggression while Visage, within the first 10 levels, Visage, that's where he's at his prime. He does a lot of burst damage in relative to all other heroes once those Soul Assumption charges start picking up. So if they can start being aggressive now, especially with this one ward that they have. Speaking of aggression, they're looking at going on Alchemist. A nice net comes out, Rocket Barrage. Alchemist is channeling, but he's not going to be able to get it off. So they find the first blood up on that Naga Siren. Impale comes out, lands onto 2. They might get a counter kill, they won't. Situ will get on out of there. Rocket Barrage is forcing back the Coddle and that Nyx Assassin.
That was extremely well played there by Seraphic Nexus. You know, they saw where the supports of Takes Two the Jango were. They saw that Alchemist was just a little bit too far. They realized that they can deal quite a ton of damage very, very quickly, and they just capitalized on it. Very well played.
So now they're going to be sitting ahead for a little bit while. Naga Siren, it's always nice to pick up the first kill. You'd prefer it to go to your carry, but on the Naga Siren, she can rotate into that carry role if needed later on in the game, depending on how her farm's going. And she's really nice for support in that carry. Did buy up that courier, so she already put her gold to use to helping out the team. So good on Fallen, being the team player there is, and now they're going to come over and challenge this pull, which a nice Illuminate coming through by Denal, hits on 3 heroes. Might even force a few more consumables coming out. Nyx Assassin's pulls unfortunately is not going to work. He went for the Impale, but did cancel at the last minute. But now an Alchemist Stun does come find out. The Soul Assumption is going to be thrown out very shortly. Nice net holding back that Alchemist, and now Gyrocopter's on the run. He's running to the left. Well, do they have the speed to catch up? No, they do not. Gyrocopter got those early boots from that first blood, pops us south, and he's off.
Yeah, very nice decision to actually run that left direction. If he did run right, he may have been caught out. Just a few of those right clicks, especially from the Keeper of the Light, who's the range, but also he would have been taking more damage from the acid spray. So I think that was certainly a wise decision.
And Alchemist, he just hits level 4. I'm a little bit surprised he went for the second point in Grieveland's Greed. I would have been preferred if he went for that Unstable Concoction as level 2, because if you have that second level, you do a lot more damage and that stun is more potent. And in a tri-lane is this, where both sides are being aggressive, you want to have the more aggressive and burst style stats. Up at the top, we do have an initiation on the Lone Drone. Open Wounds is out. We have a double damage Shadow Fiend. Hits for 1, hits for 2, and that's a kill for Shadow Fiend under the tower.
They're going to be very happy with that. And Seraphine's actually been really doing really well in this mid lane as well. He's currently sitting at 22 last hits, 8 denies, whereas the Invoker's only sitting at 9-7. So, you know, Seraphine's doing extremely well. Invoker has opted for just a quick quest Wex one. He does have that cold snap, but you know, he's going to have a little bit of a hard time here, just up against the Shadow Fiend now, particularly nowadays, just about to level 6. There it is.
And he's got his full 20 souls, and he's hitting for 163 at the moment of that double damage. It will jump down to about 80, but 80 damage at this stage, because you have all those souls, is still quite a lot. You're not going to be able to outlast hit this Shadow Fiend until he dies. And Invoker's just going to have a tough time. As you said, he's only sitting on 11 for 8 at the moment. That's not where you want your mid lane to be. So that just shows you at the zoning and last hitting potential that Shadow Fiend has shown this game. And they're seeing this Nyx Assassin, he's in the jungle, there goes the Grave Chill, a few auto attacks to try and build up those soul assumption charges. They still got a net hit, they throw out the net, Nyx Assassin does have a spiked carapace, he's not throwing it, nice illuminate come flying through, hitting that Visage. Visage in a lot of trouble, he hits, gets stunned by 1, gets stunned by 2, he will fall shortly after, and now you got it, he's chasing down Letha, he's trying to, he does have the boots, Nyx Assassin's juking around the trees, great eat through the tangers, but they will find the Keeper of the Light instead, and now, Nagasarn, he may have found the Nyx Assassin, boots, Gyrocopter's come flying around, he's got to throw the rocket branch up, but it's not going to hit anyone. And in the meantime, Lifesteal gets a kill on the Lone Druid up on top lane, but down the bottom lane, they're still trying to chase this Nyx Assassin. He throws at the Carapace, nice stun, but now Alchemist is throwing out the stun, trying to save his Nyx Assassin. Final auto attack goes off to the Gyrocopter, and now he's rocket branching up, and they're going back towards Boki. Can Boki get on out of here? No, he doesn't. Reek is in to help support. Nagasarn's now diving on the tower. He needs a few more. He's not going to be able to find it. And now Invoker needs to turn around, but he's going to turn around too late, and both of those heroes are going to get out of there. But now Coddle is trying to rotate in here, but Coddle can't really do too much.
Invoker, he sort of hesitated there. He might not actually be able to get them in time. I guess.
So there goes the Illuminate. He throws the Tornado out, throws the Cold Snap shortly after, and it's stopping Nagasarn from splitting up. He does get split up. Can they get that final auto attack? Rika turned around before the auto attack went off, and now Rika's in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have a TP. Naga throws down that net, and Rika is now dead. That little bit of hesitation, and then that auto attack cancel, means he missed out on a kill and gave a kill away to Kim's Dota.
Extremely well played there by Seraphic Nexus. Gotta say though, takes to the Jango, it looks like they might end up on top of that fight just a little bit at the start there. Nyx Assassin was doing really well, juking around. They managed to get a kill on the Visage, but in the end, Seraphic Nexus is doing well to turn it around.
And this Alchemist, he's going for 3 points in Grieveland's Greed. So this is, I still don't agree with this. You don't have that complete free farm, so you shouldn't be expecting to get every single last hit without too much contesting. I would have preferred if the max Unstable Concoction, because you've been fighting a lot so far, and there's going to be a lot more fights to come. They're not going to let up on this Alchemist. They're not going to let this Alchemist just sit back and farm. Seraphic Nexus have been putting a lot of pressure on and shutting down Boki so far in this game, which is very well played by Seraphic Nexus at the moment. And this Gyrocopter, he's being extremely aggressive, and he's got all right to be at this current stage in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's doing really well. He's picked up his phase boots. He's got his magic one in the stash. He'll probably go for an Aquila next, just to ensure that he gets that extra mana regen and extra stats. It looks like they might actually just engage again in the jungle.
Coddle's got to be a little bit careful. The net comes out, and we could see the death of a Coddle very shortly. Alchemist is channeling that stun. He's trying to save it as long as possible. The Coddle does fall shortly. TP comes in by Rika. They turn it against. You got it, and you got it will fall to Rika. Tornado comes flying through, keeping falling back. Can they find any damage? Cold Snap cannot be currently invoked, so they got no lockdown for that Nagasarn. And Nagasarn's going to get on out of there. Visashi's going to try and hide in the trees. He picks up his boots. He might get caught out here. Stun is being channeled, but Alchemist doesn't have any allies to follow up there. So that's going to be another missed kill for not Seraphic Nexus, for takes to the Jango. My apologies.
Yeah, that was still a very nice pickup there.
And they're going back again to And they've got the net, got the splash, and there goes the Alchemist. So he doesn't capitalize on a kill. However, Seraphic Nexus, they TP in and find an overextended Alchemist with no allies around, and then they find a kill back on him.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually just gonna say, thanks to Jango did well to pick up the kill on the gyrocopter behind the tower there, but you know, now the Alchemist is sort of just gave up that that death. It's a bit pretty much evens itself out again.
I don't think that was the favourable trade you wanted, especially not on your Alchemist, who is going to be wanting to hard carry this game pretty much hard as you could be at this moment. He's going for that full in Grievance Greed, and now he's just TP'd back in. So his net worth is actually not sitting that well. He's 1700 net worth. There's 4 heroes above him doing a lot better than him for a lot less, I would like to say. I mean, you have your Shadow Fiend, he's doing fantastic in mid. He's gotten 1 kill against his name by rotating top, but he's been trying to be over the map and trying to do what he can. Then you have Gyrocopter against his Tri-Lane. There is initiation down here on bottom, actually. Cooldown's being popped. It's going to land onto Rika. Rika takes one. Rika's turned around, throwing that cold snap out, but we should see the death of Rika very shortly. There we go. The splash and final auto attack from the Naga Siren. Nyx Assassin will fall shortly after too. You got it. Now we have Boki. He's trying to find the kill. Great familiar stun. And Gyrocopter will pick up that kill. However, Visage will trade for his life. But that's a nice trade that they want to do for Seraphic Nexus.
Definitely. I mean, 3 for 1, and you took down the Alchemist to carry. You took down that mid hero, and you lost the Visage. That's always favourable.
The Coddle Illuminate come flying through, picking off Fawn. He wasn't expecting it, and Coddle would stake a sneaky kill for himself, but he's been chased down by these familiars, but the familiars aren't going to be able to do too much. So, how do you think Takes Two to Jango should play these next 5 to 10 minutes out? How do you think they should try and pull themselves back in this? I mean, they're currently down by 6k gold and the same in XP, so they're a little bit behind. Kim's Dota might find Invoker out in the jungle. He's going to trail him into the jungle, actually. No, he's not. They're just going to forget about it. So, what do you think Takes Two to Jango needs to do at this moment?
Top tower has fallen.
You know, I feel like they should probably start rotating through, particularly their... Wow, that's a very nice kill there for the Shadow Fiend on that lone droid. Finishing very quickly, but I feel like their supports should start maybe rotating, start setting up some smoke ganks and whatnot. This Alchemist might also want to just play much more safely and...
Down and bottom lane we have an initiation, so we do see a nice cooldown. It's going to miss on everyone actually. Great impale lands on 2. Familiar stun 1 very shortly. Will he throw down the familiar stun? No needed. They have the net. They're going to burst down Coddle. And then the Alchemist stun's coming in late. And now the Shadow Fiend. He wants blood. He's going to turn around. He sees the Invoker's Tornado come through, but Invoker's already off and out of there. Invoker's playing with fire. He's got to be careful. Now it's 4v5. Actually, 4v4. Lifesteal is still farming away up in top lane. He hasn't left the entire game. Alchemist being very aggressive at the moment, channeling that stun. It's going to land on Visage. They might find a kill on Visage. It's only a level 1 stun. Nice impale come flying through. But Song of the Siren, anti-fun to the extreme, comes in and just shuts down everything.
Yeah, oh, Visage has to be a little bit careful. That tornado is going out.
Oh, so close.
But yeah, as I was saying, I mean, they really need to set up some ganks. Nyx Assassin, unfortunately, is not level 6 yet, so he can't really do much. I mean, you know, Seraphic Nexus, they have a few relatively fragile heroes. You know, Shadow Fiend doesn't have a lot of health. Naga Siren as well, not very tanky. I mean, it would have been nice for this Nyx Assassin to be 6 by now. You know, it is 13 minutes in. It's considering he's only level 4, it's pretty slow. It's to be understood considering they are quite far behind, but they really needed him to start setting up these ganks and whatnot. This is the sort of play that Takes Two to Jango were going for, and they just haven't been able to really make that play yet. You know, Shadow Fiend has been moving around so much. Invoker's been doing relatively well to move. He's obviously lost that mid lane, so it was really smart of him to start moving around. He did help secure a few kills, but they need to do a bit more of that. That Alchemist needs to play much more safely. He's being very aggressive and gets caught out by himself quite a few times now, so...
And we got Lifesteal, he's rotating behind, almost found Rika out of position, but now he will turn around, gets Tornado, but the open wounds goes out onto the evil twig, and that burst damage. That was only one raise and 2 or 3 auto attacks of the lifestealer. That just shows you how squishy Lone Druid is when he's not in his bear form, which he is level 9, so he should have been in it, especially with 2 heroes off the map. And down the bottom lane, actually, we have an initiation. Alchemist will fall shortly down to that last cooldown. And now, once again, as you said, Alchemist, not playing safe, gets caught out and will fall for his 3rd time? No, his 4th time, actually, in the match.
Yeah, it's certainly not what you want. I mean, Alchemist is currently sitting at the peak in terms of net worth for It Takes Two to Jango, but it's not enough. It's well below Seraphic Nexus in terms of farm.
And we're going to see Letha just be absolutely demolished by Shadow Fiend. 2 auto attacks. The Infest didn't even need to pop out. So now they're just going to turn to his tower. It should be 3 auto attacks, and Coddle got out of there as fast as he could. He didn't want to stay around, and they were searching for him. He knew he was down there, so nice decision to TP on out of there to try and minimize their losses.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now we've seen all 3 of the tier 1 towers here fall from Takes Two to Jango, and this is just going to have to force them to play even more defensively. You cannot. They can't really, for example, if Seraphic Nexus were to go to rush now, they couldn't really contest it. The Nyx Assassin is still level 4, and has been that way for quite a while now. Very well played in top.
I mean, no one's safe on the side of Takes Two to Jango from 2 auto attacks at the moment from the Shadow Fiend. They're all squishy. The Shadow Fiend's got a lot of damage on him. He's sitting on 170 odd damage by himself at the moment with his Shadow Blade and full souls. It's just, and with a few raises, there goes anyone's health in like less than 5 seconds, and there's not much they can do about it too late at the moment. He's sitting 5 for 0. He's turning towards Rika. Rika could be in a lot of trouble. He will Ghost Walk and get away there. So Rika luckily has that ability to Ghost Walk and be able to walk on out of there. Down the bottom, the cooldown was used onto the Alchemist, but I had no idea where that Gyrocopter ended up going. He TP'd back home. He probably got hit with the stun, threw down the cooldown, and just got out of there as fast as possible. And now Seraphic Nexus, they're looking to set something up.
Yeah, and if this Alchemist doesn't back off, he'll probably get caught out again. Naga Siren does have that haste, she's going to throw out that net, and I think he's going to be dead again.
Yeah, there's not too much they can do. They have absolutely no vision on the map at the moment, which isn't what you want from an Alchemist going for a very greedy build. You need some vision for him, and you need to be able to control your jungle. At the moment, they have the ability to have neither of those. They don't have the vision, they don't have any wards currently up on the map, whereas Seraphic Nexus, they got a nice aggressive ward down here in bottom lane, they have a nice jungle ward in the mid lane, so they're watching the very vital points of rotation of heroes. They don't really care for runes, they're not going for that chance factor, they just want to be aggressive and keep forcing these fights and just consistently shutting down any hopes for Takes Two to Jango.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one ward that Takes Two to Jango have is in his bottom lane, and it's very far out. It's not really doing anything for him at the moment. It looks like that Seraphic Nexus does want this rush on. To have a few heroes just sort of hanging around here. Looks like they might want to go for it. And you know, they really have the opportunity to, you know, Takes Two to Jango, as I was saying before, they can't really contest this.
So this is going to be a free Roshan for Seraphic Nexus. It most likely will go to Shadow Fiend. He is almost finished building his BKB. He needs another 700 gold. Make that another 500 gold, and he'll have his BKB up and running. And now the Infest has popped into Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's on the hunt. He's going to be looking. Nice ward just came up, and they're going to be able to spot that, but it'll be instantly counter warded. So unfortunately, that's 75 gold and a little bit of vision down the drain for to the Jango. But that's what they need to do. They need to try and get some vision up on the map and watching the rotation. And we do see a cooldown being thrown down on Invoker. It's going to miss. Rocket Branch being popped. He does pop that Ghost Snap, but he's going to walk in on it. They don't have any way to currently reveal him. Nagasiren's a little bit too far behind, but that net does reveal, and Nagasiren is also carrying some sentry wards.
Yeah, definitely. I'd just like to point out a little bit in terms of the items here for Seraphic Nexus. They're going heavy armor reduction. We see that Visage has that medallion, which is fairly common for him. Of course, Naga Siren, she has her splash. It looks like we might see a dead Keeper of the Light here.
So they will throw that net out and then burst down that coddle. And at the same time, Kim's Dota and Malamba, the Shadow Fiend lifesteal combination, they went for the Alchemist. Alchemist almost got caught out, but they didn't have any lockdown for that Alchemist, so Alchemist just TP'd on out of there. They had a lot of burst damage, but it only took down Alchemist to about a quarter of his HP because he was in his chemical rage. So he had that extra HP bonus. So he was able to get on out of there and not be able to die, which at this stage would pretty much destroy any hopes for Takes Two the Jango, because as long as you have this Alchemist, you can always get back into that game. With the Grievance Greed, you can grab a lot of money, you can come back in 6th slot at about 35 to 40 minutes and be able to carry your team. But the only problem on that is, he's going to be the only one getting on farm, and the rest of your side's going to just get a lot less gold.
Yeah, definitely. And just as I was saying before, just before that gank happened there on the Keeper of Light, they're going heavy armor reduction. Shadow Fiend, of course, he has that. He has his passive. This Lifestealer, he's picked up a Desolator, so this is just... And this is exactly what they should be doing. Their lineup is very much melee, well not, I'm going to say melee, I should say physical damage orientated, and this sort of teamwork in terms of just the item build is very fantastic here from Seraphic Nexus.
So good coordination coming out, especially by their supports being able to coordinate with their heroes, getting some supports rotating around, always being within reach of their carries, being able to get those nets out, support, lockdowns, burst, vision. These supports are playing quite well. Takes to the Jango, they got a nice counter ward off. They got that jungle ward out of the way, so they cannot currently see any more vision in there. And they have a few of the defensive wards themselves, watching their heal and try area in that jungle. So they're trying to get some vision back and watch back in their jungle to try and give this Alchemist a little bit more safe farm. But at the moment, nowhere is safe. These heroes on Seraphic Nexus, they all want blood. And wouldn't be too surprised if we see a song very shortly if there's a group up by Takes to the Jango.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, you see a teleport into the top there. They do want to defend that tower, of course.
And I'm actually quite happy to see a little bit of a Wex, Quaz, Invoker, but as you said at the start, it does lack that early damage, and that's what we've seen at the start of the game. The Invoker didn't have too much damage to contest that Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, so he lost down the mid against the last hits and deniers. And then he didn't have too much burst damage. He wasn't comboing his Tornado with EMP. He didn't have the chance to, I should say, because a great team fighting coming out by Seraphic Nexus, being able to zone that Invoker out, either instantly kill him or zone him out, make him ghost walk away, and then hold his head in between his legs. So nice work coming out by Seraphic Nexus, and now they're going to be moving on to this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as you were saying, Invoker, he obviously had a very hard time there in the mid lane.
Radiant's middle tower
It's sort of to be expected from Invoker though, just because he only has the one spell to really use that can, besides obviously the orbs that he brings up, but I mean that's only really for right clicking and ensuring you get some last hits in the eyes. You know, until you reach some of those later levels, then you can start comboing stuff, but then it might already be too late in the laning phase.
So this is where Invoker's EMP is quite nice. You can basically completely nullify attacks. If you get a Tornado and EMP on everyone, you can shut down all their mana, and then that just basically nullifies the attack because they don't want to push in. If they can't cast any spells, if a Siren can't get off his net or her net and her song, Visage can't be throwing out any abilities such as the Soul Assumption, usually you see teams just back off. So that's quite useful for where the EMP and Tornado comes into effect, and it does a considerable amount of damage. But at the moment, they don't care. Shadowfiend's walking, and he's got the Aegis, he's man enough, he's got BKB, he just gets instantly burst down, he's going to pop that BKB as soon as he comes out of the Aegis. They turn around, Boki throws out that stun, but the Familiars are doing a lot of damage. They push back the lifesteal, the lifesteal's going to fall to the Illuminate and the tower shots. Actually, that will go to the Nyx Assassin. Visage picks off the Coddle with that Soul Assumption, and then Song of the Siren comes flying out, and they're going to retreat. Or they might fake retreat and come back around. They, Takes to the Jango being aggressive here. They have that Nyx Assassin. They can currently spot him to that ward. They turn around, few auto attacks, Soul Assumption, net, and then we should see Letha dead very shortly. Will the Tornado almost picks off the Naga Siren. However, the Alchemist Acid Spray will find that kill. So it's 2 for 2 supports for a carry and Naga Siren.
I feel like that was a bit of a misplay there by Seraphic Nexus. When they went into that base, they sort of just split up and they didn't really have as much focus, which is a little bit unusual. So far, in this game, they've really been coordinating well, focusing on the correct targets and whatnot. Actually, might see Shadow Fiend here pick up another kill. He's done really well so far, just rotating around it. Yeah, that's very well played.
Yeah, that Lone Druid had no chance.
He got very unlucky though. He had no entangles.
Ice Frog, please buff.
Yeah, I mean, generally, like, it's quite often to see, like, first, second attack entangle, and that time around, he got none. But yeah, as I was saying, they just pushed up into the base, past that tier 3 tower, and they just sort of split up. It doesn't really seem like they had focus. I felt like, particularly when you had that Shadow Fiend, Aegis, they could have, Shadow Fiend fell very quickly, but after that, Takes to the Jango couldn't really follow up with too much. So if they had a bit more focus, if they had a bit more coordination, I feel like that could have ended a little bit better for them.
And I don't even think Shadowfin the entire time during that fight got his BKB off. Yeah, it's still on 10-second cooldown, so he never once used his BKB. I mean, usually you want to save it till after your Aegis has popped, but they had lost already 2 heroes then, and he was on his way out. If he'd used that at the start, they could have put up more of a fight. Even if he popped his Aegis, he would have had the chance to get on out of there. The rest of his team probably would have found the kills on the heroes that they desperately needed. And they just stayed in there longer. And then Takes Two Jango almost just gave it straight back and gave all the kills back to Seraphic Nexus. They overextended a little bit, but luckily Seraphic Nexus, they couldn't get into position to counteract and make Take Two to Jango pay. So now there will be a slight push down in bottom lane. As I say that, we do see the Shadow Fiend TPing away, so I completely retract my statement. And we should go into a little bit far more now. Won't be seeing another base push until this Roshan is back up again. It will be back up in about 3.5 to 4 minutes. So until then, see Boki maybe start working towards our tier 3 item. At the moment he's got a Blade Mail, but that's not what you want on your Alchemist. You want to pick up some your damage dealing items. Maybe an AC to help your entire team with the damage and armor buff. But at the moment, Blade Mail, I don't think this isn't what Alchemist needs.
I definitely agree. I mean, he's sort of been a little bit forced into it, because he does sort of need to help return some of that damage that he's taken and just give him a little bit of that armor. But as you were saying, yeah, it's not really what you want your Alchemist to be getting. You want your Alchemist to be getting that right click damage, whether it be through the AC or just anything really.
So Kim's Dota almost got caught out there. There's a nice sentry ward on the ground watching it. Kim's Dota got very aggressive. I probably would have preferred if we saw maybe a cold snap instead of that EMP tornado. The cold snap would have held him in place that a little bit longer. Your Alchemist could have followed up shortly after with the cocktail. And he probably would have found a kill under that Rev Ward. And Kim's Dota, he doesn't care. He's still being aggressive. He's got no teammates around him. And there's currently 4 heroes missing off the map. He's going in for those creep kills. He's not afraid.
Yeah, playing very aggressively there. He's actually just going to pick up the few kills there from the creeps and back off. And yeah, as you were saying before, I feel like they're probably not going to really attempt to push unless they can get 2 hero kills, maybe 3, and then they shouldn't really have much trouble pushing into the base. But until that Roshan gets up, I feel like they're just going to move around, farm, which is smart. I mean, it's what they're not really contested. They're not going to. Takes to the Jango can't really stop them from doing that, and particularly when you have that Keeper of the Light, who is a great anti-push hero, as you were saying before, that Invoker with his EMP and whatnot does stop pushes relatively well. The lineup here from Seraphic Nexus isn't very mana hungry. It's like they have a lot of in heroes that need the mana. In fact, they have no actually, so they have the Visage. But even him, he still can use his familiars and whatnot. And yeah, the rest of the heroes are very right-click orientated, but of course the EMP, the tornado, it does help with the anti-push. So Seraphic Nexus, they're just going to back off and wait for the Roshan, I feel.
You're absolutely correct. And there's a minute left for this Roshan, so this is going to keep all these lanes pushed in. And they're going to make sure that Takes Two the Jango can't do anything about it. And if they try and come out of the base, all the lanes will be pushed. And Kim's Dota, he's looking to be aggressive against Boki. He pops this Shadow Blade. He's walking in. He might start channeling his Requiem. There we go. Requiem is being channeled. Lance does half the damage. We do not have... We've got the Blade Maveline pop now, but it's way too late. He didn't even have time to pop his Chemical Rage. And that's your biggest damage dealer hero down. And he doesn't have buyback, so this is going to make all the lanes push. They're all pushing in. We could see 3 lanes of Rax lost right here. We see the EMP, it's going to miss. BKB is being popped by that Gyrocopter. Throws down the cooldown. It's not hitting on anyone. Shadow Fiend's right-clicking away through that bear. The bear still has not got one single entangle so far into that. Cold Snap's being popped into the Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's in the middle of nowhere. Open Wounds comes flying out. Force stuff by the Invoker, but that's not enough. We see the nice Infest into the Gyrocopter and back out again. Net comes out. Nyx Assassin will fall surely back after, and now there's 3 heroes down, and this could be tier 3 tower and the falling Rax.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, definitely, and that was really well played there. They picked off the Alchemist, they kept the lanes pushed, they saw they can potentially push up, and they did so. Gyrocopter popped that BKB quite early, and you know, Lone Druid had to defend bottom against this Shadow Fiend, which meant it was basically 3 vs 4 in the mid lane, and they just capitalized on it. Managed to get a few kills, managed to get the Rax here, and a tier 3 tower in bottom. This will probably be a double Rax.
I think this could, unfortunately for Takes Two the Jango, this could be probably game right here. We have the stun being challenged by Boki. Boki throws it out, Fallen gets forced off away, but it'll still land. Cooldown's been thrown down, you got it charging in with his flat cannon, just attacking the bear, and the flat cannon's bouncing around everywhere. Boki pops his barbed armor, but that's not going to stop the rest of Seraphic Nexus. They want to dive hard, they will not find it. They do find a kill on the bear, so the bear will fall, giving 300 gold away, and they might get a few kills back onto the Visage's Familiars, but that's absolutely nothing in this stage of the game. A nice Deafening Blast coming out, but a BKB instantly popped, and now he's on the run. So it's a second BKB, not going to be of too much use to that Gyrocopter. Pop Naga's Song of the Siren, TP out by You Got It, and the rest of the team's going to come fine out. Boki stuns himself because he couldn't get off that cocktail, but Seraphic Nexus, they should be out of here quite fine. Unless we can see Locky and Tangle. The turnaround, they're going to actually start attacking the bear. Vendetta, Nyx Assassin, he's trying to find something. Nice mana stun. Nice force stuff, even better to get that Visage out of there. They do catch the Tornado onto that Naga Siren. And we see a Rage TP. Boki once again, for the about 7th time in the game, unfortunately stunned himself. Up on top though, near the bottom rune, we do have Deafening Blast that's going to miss from Rika. And we do have Kim's Dota. He's ready. He's turning around. Stun comes out by Boki. Boki's overextended though. Cooldown's being popped. It's not going to land on anyone. Boki's got to get out of it. He doesn't have a TP, so he could be trapped on the side of the map for quite a long time. But the rest of Seraphic Nexus, they're going for these supports. They're going to find the fish food, and they're going to eat them up. Actually, you might see a TP. Doesn't get out of that final raise, picking him off by Kim's Dota.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if he actually popped the... No, I don't think he popped the spike characters. What you probably should have done, just pop the spike characters and then start teleporting. May have saved him. Probably not, but nonetheless. And
Kim's Dota once again being aggressive, channels the Requiem of Souls, almost instantly kills the Evil Twig, and a nice change of forms to dodge that final auto attack. And so that's a really nice play. Boki comes in, channels the stun, and they should find a kill on Kim's Dota, and Kim's Dota, over aggressive, dies and gives his Godlike straight up for 900 gold away to Boki.
Yeah, in the meantime though, they are Seraphic Nexus are taking Roshan here. And they'll, even without the, they'll probably just back off. Actually, there quite a few of them are low. But even if they don't have the Shadow Fiend, they could probably still keep the aggression on, push that top lane, and especially when you have the Rax in the other 2 lanes. I mean, they're always going to be constantly defending, so I feel like they'll probably just keep the pressure on.
And Boki now picking up his BKB, so this should help out against the engagement, but you still have Naga Siren. Her net can go through that BKB, it will still hold you into place, so you can still easily kite that Alchemist around. So it's not going to be the most effective pickups. It's nice because then Visage, Gyrocopter, and Shadow Fiend, they've become negated, but so far Shadow Fiend's always on top of either the Alchemist or Lone Druid, pops that Requiem of Souls and does most of his magic damage anyway. And now at top lane, the Evil Twig's got to be very careful. He will TP on out of here. He's not going to be able to call out. You have the rest of Seraphic Nexus, they're rotating around. They're hoping he was walking back to base, but he did TP out, rightfully so, and he will survive.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of that BKB pickup here from Bucky. I mean, even if he pops it, Naga Siren can just pop her ulti, and then he's basically by himself. His team's all asleep, and Seraphic Nexus can just unload on him. They're not like, you know, very much a magical damage lineup. It's pretty much all physical damage here. So that BKB is not going to really be doing too much for him.
So you see that open wound's been thrown out into the even to ignite force stuff, but he will still be burst down by the soul assumption of Visage. And now the net comes flying out onto Rika. The Lambo will almost auto attack him down. Fallen will pick it up from that crush. Letha's going to get the final auto attack in, will pop that Aegis off. And now Bucky, he's popped his chemical rage. He wants blood. He's running around, but he's running the wrong way. He's too afraid. The sun got popped. Sun got instantly cancelled. And now Alchemist, he needs to get in there and try and do something before they lose all their racks. One rack is down. BKB is now popped, but the lifesteal is just doing so much damage and bursting them down, and there's the GG.
Well played there by Seraphic Nexus. They really controlled this game pretty much from the start. You know, the mid lane, they won that lane. In top lane, once Shadow Fiend started ganking the Lone Druid with the help of the Lifestealer, you know, Lifestealer won his lane. They got that early tier 1 tower. Bottom lane was pretty much completely dominated by that aggressive tri lane. I will hit that GG button as always. Congratulations to Seraphic Nexus on taking that 6th spot position.
Seraphic Nexus, they're going to be quite happy with that. They're moving up the ladder at quite a fast pace, and unfortunately 4 takes to the Jango. I feel as if at the start, what let them down was the Alchemist choices and the way he wanted to level his abilities. I believe if they went for the Alchemist Unstable Cocktail over anything else, they could have got a lot more damage, stun, and kills off in the start of the game, and they would have had a lot more potential. However, Bucky wanted to go for that very greedy build, leveling up his Grievelin's greed, and couldn't find the farm he needed. They just got set back further and further, and they couldn't hold their own, and that's where Seraphic Nexus just took advantage, just kept hammering them, and just took the game from there.
Yeah, I agree. His item choice was also a little bit questionable. But yeah, just there really wasn't much takes to Jango could really do. You know, Nyx Assassin was completely under-leveled, so he couldn't try to set up any kills or anything like that. Invoker tried rotating around a little bit. Some of it was a little bit successful, some of it not so much. Lone Druid, you know, as we were saying before, got outlaned, wasn't allowed to farm. Yeah, it was very, very well played by Seraphic Nexus.
So I'd like to thank you all for watching. You can follow me at youtube.com/Dota Yoshi. Follow Xalorith at twitch.tv Xalorith. Follow him on Twitter at Xalorith Dota. My apologies. And myself is just /Dota Yoshi. Xalorith's stream is in support of Child's Play. They do wonderful things. If you can, get in there, help support them. They're a wonderful charity. They do great things for kids. And thank you all for watching. Have a good evening, afternoon, and morning.
See you guys next time.